Former President Donald Trump's second Senate impeachment trial is set. Will Democrats be able to convince enough Republicans to break with the former president and convict Trump of inciting the deadly U.S. Capitol riot that we all saw go down? Now we're connecting the dots on what you can expect next.
The Senate is expected to get the article of impeachment against former President Trump today. So what happens next? Let's connect the dots. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she will send the article of impeachment against Donald Trump to the Senate today. He's facing one charge of incitement of insurrection in connection with the January 6th Capitol riot. Once that happens, Senate rules require them to start the trial the next day, unless there is some bipartisan agreement to delay. And Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has agreed to delay things until February 9th. The trial could go pretty quickly. There are 9 impeachment managers from the House that will act as prosecutors in the case. Democrats say they can move quickly through the trial, even going so far as to not calling witnesses because lawmakers witnessed the insurrection firsthand. But whether Democrats can get a conviction is another matter. They will need the support of at least 17 Republicans. And while some Senate Republicans say they are keeping an open mind, it is still an uphill climb. Though Donald Trump does have a disadvantage in this Senate trial, in the last impeachment, he had the full resources of the White House counsel's office to defend him. Now he has to reach out to his own lawyers.